Hey there, I'm Nancy McDermott. We're in my kitchen, and welcome to Nancy's Table. I want to talk to you about one of my favorite fruits in the whole wide world, the mango. When I was growing up in North Carolina, baby boomer times, didn't see them. I knew apples, peaches, pears, bananas. Bananas, a tropical fruit that was everywhere, but mangoes were news to me. I joined the Peace Corps after college and went to Thailand, and mangoes were one of the many marvelous magical aspects of living in Thailand and going through the year with the abundance and preciousness of all the fruits that thrive in really, really hot weather, in really hot climates closer to the equator than I am here in North Carolina. We've got peaches, we've got watermelons, blackberries, lots of goodness here in the temperate part of the mid-south, but the tropical fruits of Southeast Asia found a place in my heart. And a wonderful thing is that now I got all these goodies at my local grocery store. And they're grown in Mexico, they're grown in Florida, they grow on U.S. soil wherever it's hot enough and humid enough and tropical enough. And we have them through the year at the grocery store. They're in season right now. There's not just one season that they kind of come in and out, but right now, this time of year, they are abundant. And I just want to show you how to cut into them, because there's one secret that you need to know cutting up a mango. The seed is not like little teeny apple seeds or little teeny pear seeds or even a great big peach pit in the middle. The seed of a mango it's almost like a hand sideways. It's wide and it's slender and it goes right down the middle. So the seed is going here and it's a little bit wide. So if you try to cut the mango in half, you can't do it. If you cut in half this way, you'll get stuck on the seed completely. If you try to cut it this way, you'll get halfway in. So the secret is to know how the mango is arranged and work around it. So I've got two kinds here. There are great big fat plump ones, and one type is Tommy Adkins. These particular mangoes are labeled Kent. These are Kent mangoes, and very typical of the ones that we see often throughout the year in my North Carolina grocery stores. These beauties are called honey mangoes, and this type you'll often see in a bigger form Haitian mangoes from Haiti. There are, let's see, I can't remember the names of them. And of course, I wouldn't go to the store looking for a particular one because it's going to be dependent on whatever the supply is. But you'll find them in this gorgeous teardrop shape, and they have a long stem. They hang from a beautiful deciduous tree that grows in those tropical climes, and they range in size from this that just fits in the palm of my hand to this great big beauty which fills it up. They're all wonderful. You can put them in fruit salad. You can eat them. If you're making mango bread or putting them in cookies or making mango jam, any one of them would work. So the peeling you have to take off. It's just a little bit too thick to eat. And dealing with the seed is the big thing to think about. Okay, so this is a serrated knife, which I like to use. And one thing I wanted to say, the color does not tell you whether it's ripe or not. So this one is green, but it's not necessarily going to turn yellow or pink. In fact, I can feel it and I can press my thumb and I can tell that this one is maybe a little bit unripe right now, but it's not going to change color. This one is naturally green to red. This one is naturally red to yellow. The ones that are teardrop shaped do tend to turn bright yellow when they're ripe. So these are easier to tell the story of ripeness by looking at the outside. These big fat round ones, it's hard to tell. So use your fingers. They do ripen at home, so you can buy some and put them on the counter, and a couple of days later, they should be just right. Okay, I'm going to show you two ways to cut them up. And the first one is I'm going to cut it the way that I learned to do it in Thailand. First taking off this bit of shopping information that we don't need anymore. I'm going to take off the stem end, cutting away as little as possible because I want to keep all that delicious fruit. And then Thai people put it stem end toward me, and the bottom that would be hanging down from the tree pointing at the ground toward you, toward the camera. And I was always taught in Thailand, cut away from you. People were horrified when I would pick up something and cut it this way, which is what my grandmother did, what I learned to do. But cutting away from you is a good idea. And with a mango, it's especially good because the peel, you've got sort of a long way to go, and it's good to go in a stripe. So let me show you how I like to do it. So I'm going to put my knife under the skin here and just start sawing gently and going all the way toward the end. So you saw I moved my fingers out of the way, and I took off that nice strip of peel. Now you can see how close to the edge I got. I got some of the meat, but not too bad. I'm going to go right beside that and cut again and take another strip. And I'm just going very carefully, keeping myself as close to the peel and as far from the delicious fruit as possible, because every bit that I get on the peel is part that we're not going to get to eat. So coming again on this right side, I guess I'm going about 1 inch maybe in thickness, oops, I lost my way a little bit. Yeah, you do have to dig down just a little bit. Got off track there. This one is not quite completely ripe, but it certainly will be sweet and good to eat, but it could ripen another day or two. Okay, there's that. So I've got it almost completely peeled. I'm going to stop and use my vegetable peeler, my swivel peeler. This works really well too. I don't really like it cutting toward me on a mango, especially because it's slippery. I've got the juice on my hand. I just don't feel like I've got a good grip on it. So I like to plant it on the skin and then pull down, pulling away from me like that. Now, of course, I'm doing it awkwardly. If I weren't trying to show you, I would have it on my cutting board and I'd hold it and I'd grab a little bit of the skin there and pull it down the side, and I'm anchored on the cutting board. So that's absolutely the way to go. Don't feel like you need to hold it up in the air. I'm doing that to just give you the idea. I'm going to turn it just a little bit, pull, get under and get a hold of that skin, and then come right down in a strip. There we go. And I think I now have about half the mango peeled. I got that last little strip there. So I've got not peeled on the bottom, peeled on the top. So I've got this nice rounded part. Can you see the seed? And you've got it, you want to know there's that seed in the middle. The seed is going flat. So next step, let me get all these peelings out of the way. Next step is to cut crosswise. So I'm going to I've got a nice big chef's knife. I'm going to try that. I'm going to cut it crosswise, and I cut all the way down until I can feel, can you hear it? I can feel the seed there. I'm going to go over about 1.5 inches and cut down again. I'm on the seed. I could do this with a smaller knife. I'm going to go toward the end, again about 1 inch. And now I've cut it down. I'm onto the flat side of the seed, and now I'm going to go back with my big knife and cut parallel to the seed and see if I can get those nice pieces. Oh, there's one. Nice piece off. There's two. And coming back under, 3, 4. So I've got that extra little stripe. I took care of that. So look, I've got these 4 nice, big, juicy pieces ready to go from that side. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to try peeling it the way that I would peel an apple. You can just get under it. Just remember that the skin is thick. Don't try to pull it like you would pull, say, an apple or a pear, because the skin is really attached well, and you're going to want to have kind of a sawing motion to really get it to let go. So cut with great care, and you can cut towards you, but like I said, I think Thai people are right. I think cutting away from you, and especially if you can do it parked on a cutting board, that's the way to go. So get that peel off however way you do it. I'm going to come down that side. What I like to do is actually peel it all the way the first time because it's going to be kind of slippery, but that way that part is done and I can wash my hands. They're not slippery. Get that last little bit. And I'm going to come back and finish up with my vegetable peeler. I have a vegetable peeler that I hold in my hand, a swivel peeler. Those work very well too. Just whatever you do to get that peel off. Okay, same thing. This time I'm going to use my smallest knife, That'll work okay. So now it's easy to see what the flat side is because I've already cut it. So I'm going to cut it near me and just lining up on that flat seed. Again, I'm doing it about an inch. I take a tiny bit there at the end. And now cutting away from me. Cutting away from me, cutting toward you, going along the seed. And look what I got. Look how pretty that is. Whoop. So I'll put it back together. And then, voila, roll it off. And here are all these beautiful sections that are ready to put in a fruit salad. If you're making the Thai sticky rice with mangoes, these go on the side. Now, there's a whole lot of goodness left on here. You're not going to be able to get it off in nice big chunks like that, but if you're making a fruit salad or cutting it up for a smoothie or just eating it, it's still going to be good. So I like to come around the side, setting it down, and cut as close as I can. Now again, you got to remember the seeds. Here's the flat seed. I'm going along the side. Can you hear it? Sawing, it gets just a little bit fibrous. Now I'm going to put the part that is not, you know, the big sort of irregular pieces that I'm going to get. I'm going to put those in a different container because I've got these big pieces. Maybe I'm going to do something where I just want to have the large parts. I'm going to come down the side and I'm really holding on to it because it's slippery. Coming along the side of the seed. Oh, I'm getting a lot of goodness on here. See, the seed starts to show up a little bit. There's a nice big piece. And then coming, this reminds me of cutting up corn. You're just trying to find the parts that are left that are still good. They're going to be irregular shapes, but they're going to be wonderful. So coming around this side, whenever you hear that crunchy sound, you know you're getting to the fibrous part, but there's still lots and lots of goodness there. And I got down to this point, and what you do with this is you put it aside and you go over to the sink when no one's looking and work on it and get all the goodness that's left, because there's still some good left, but that's about as much as I can get off with a knife. So I wouldn't let that go to waste. I'm going to put it over here. If you're cutting a lot of them, keep that over to the side. You can come back to it. Okay, so that was my great big fat one, and that was the Thai way to do it. And let me get my hands a little bit less sticky. And I'm going to put those away. Now let's take a look. So I've got these, actually this one is huge. I'm going to put that one right there. These smaller pieces, I'm just keeping them aside in case I need a snack or if I wanted to put them in a smoothie. But I've got, you're going to be able to get probably about 6 or 8 nice big slices like that. You can even try to take the whole thing off into one smooth rounded lump. That can work too. I would get a long knife and be very careful when you're doing it, but that can work too. This is how Thai people do it for a sticky rice with mango, so that's kind of always been my preference. Now, I've got these little teeny ones. Like I said, this is called a honey mango. The Haitian mangoes are a bit larger than this. Now, for these, I'm going to, again, cut in and get rid of that stem end. And for this one, another way you can go is, remember, so the seed is going parallel to my hand. And all the goodness of the mango is on this rounded side and that rounded side. So I'm going to put it stem side down and cut into the side just off center of that seed. Look how I'm coming along. See there? Oh, I can hear a little bit of the, I had to saw a little bit. Can you see the seed there? You see how it's showing up just a little bit rough and texture there in the middle, and look at all this beauty. We'll do the other side, get that same parallel line down, and I'm just doing it with a little teeny paring knife. I'm going to go back up just a little bit. I'm a little too close to the seed, made it. So here I've got my 2 rounded parts. You could hand that to somebody with a spoon, but if they're not familiar with it, that might be a little bit difficult. So once you've got it cut into that rounded piece, just cut across, just going to the skin, but not through it. I made 1, 2, 3, so I've got a piece here, a piece here, a piece here, a piece there, and I'm going to come back across, cross hatch, hashtag yummy mango. I did this way and that way, as if I were making a lattice, and push it inside out, and you've got that porcupine mango effect that is so precious. Okay, I'm going to set that aside for just a minute. Let's see. Put that on this pretty plate. So So let's take the other half, same thing. With my serrated knife, I'm going to come across, do it a little bit closer this time. Say I want smaller pieces. So I'm coming across, and again, I'm cutting in toward myself, but I'm holding it very carefully. And of course, put it down. I'm trying to show you. Plus, I'm used to it. But now so I've done it in long strips, and now I'm going to do little strips going the other direction. Crisscross applesauce, crisscross mango sauce. Now, when I push it, look how beautifully it comes up, and I've got all those little cubes. So, of course, you're outside at a picnic, go to it. Just eat the pieces right off. But suppose you want it for a salad and you want those pretty little cubes. Easy peasy to just come underneath and cut, and you've got those nice cubes, those nice sections to cut right off. Oh, I just got the aroma. When I cut it, I get the mango perfume. Okay, it's a little bit hard to get it at that angle, but if I set it down and come underneath it with a knife, it's easy to scoop those bits off. So again, for this smaller size, I'm just going to come in and peel them. You could hand it to somebody, again, hand it to somebody, and they can either treat it like a watermelon or take a spoon. I mean, I'm using a knife, but this is easy to do. Easy peasy. Got my section here, come under it with a spoon, and heavenly. They're different. I'd say the big fat ones are sweet and lovely. These have a haunting perfumed sweetness. These are so luscious. There's a very special quality to these mangoes that have an Indian and South Asian root. I believe mangoes originate in India and in South Asia, but they're beloved in Thailand. They grow, as I said, anywhere it's hot enough. So here I've got the part that I pushed out, and it's big squares. So I can just peel that off without even using a knife. This is so ripe, it's so good. Pulling those sections away, they're not bruised. Look how perfectly that comes off. And I've got the ones that I cut off. So I've got big chunks, small chunks. Leave that there. Here's two that I did. Here's two from the great big mango that I cut up earlier in the day. Here's two from the small mango that I cut up earlier. Those are just the good big parts, the good big slices. And then the tidbits I put aside, and I might put these in the freezer and use them for my smoothies, or just toss them into our salad in the evening. But just be aware, you're going to be able to get two big lobes off the sides, and then coming around carefully, you'll be able to get oddly shaped but delicious ones without prediction of the size that they'll be, but they'll still be delicious. You can eat them. Okay, so I'm taking the peel off the side of this beauty now, and coming along. Sometimes I like to set it down and just go. Let's see, where was this? Yeah, this is the honey mango. I'm going to come along the side and press down. Again, trying to come up against the seed. Pressing down here. Oop, you see it? You just listen to it, and it will make that hissing sound, which means there's too much fiber there. You're not going to get a whole lot more fruit. So I just head for another direction. Now this one, pretty close, too close to the peel. So that one I would probably just nibble on. And let's see if there's any more on this one. We've gotten down to the area where it's pretty much, as I mentioned, sink time. So I've got all this peel that I don't need, and I've got two seeds that I may keep for myself. I may hand them to somebody else who lives in this house and really knows what to do with the mango seed. But here you can see this shape. You can see what was inside. This one is plump. I left a lot on this one, so that's going to be a delicious treat. So we will compost the peeling, which is, you never eat the peel, and we'll work on those seeds and then throw those away as well. But look how much goodness we've got left. This is from the small one. This is from the bigger kind, and these will keep. I'm going to put these good pieces into an airtight container. I can, now that I've peeled them, I can cover them and put them in the fridge and keep them for a day, maybe 2, and they will freeze beautifully. If you want to freeze them for smoothies to have small pieces, do the same thing that we did when we worked on berries. You can cut up so if I had this were a great big plate, I would spread them out so they're not touching, put them in on a plate, let them freeze hard, and then drop them down into a Ziploc bag, and then you can pull them out by handfuls, just like the frozen fruit that you get at, if you buy that at the supermarket, you can create it yourself. Just freeze them so that they're not touching, and then they will be easy to deal with. And if you were to use these later, you don't need to thaw them out. Once they're frozen, they'll still be delicious, but they'll lose their beautiful texture. So if you've frozen them, use them frozen. If you're putting them in, I make a delicious mango bread, banana bread, peach bread, mango bread. Or you can make a mango upside down cake. There's all kinds of things you can do. But once they're frozen, try to use them directly into something if you're gonna bake. Or put them directly into a smoothie, you'll get that good texture. Okay, those are 2 ways to cut up a mango. Remember, you need to get the 2 side fat portions. You can cut it off and cross hatch it, or you can peel and come under it. And either way, you get delicious chunks of mango that you can enjoy all season long. All right, I hope can order mangoes or find mangoes in the store where you are, and let me know what you like to do with them. Thanks for coming to Nancy's Table. I hope you'll subscribe, and then you'll get notified whenever I've got a new video coming up. I love to cook. I love to share it with you. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see. Happy eating, happy cooking. Bye now.